is, or they should.
Yeah.
But is this checklist like a physical list, or like an emotional list, or a mindset? Like, what is this list? Is it a question you should be asking the one that you love? Is it processes you should be going through yourself? Is it checks and balances you have to do on the person before you decide that? Like, you have to vet the pink sheet and make sure that everyone has signed on the dotted line before you decide that you want to actually take this person seriously.
Well, I think it's a bit of everything.
Okay.
So there's the physical, there's the spiritual, there's the emotional. It's not just, one thing that you say, okay, because the guy has 6 packs, he checks all of my boxes. No, honey. So it starts from somewhere. But for me, if I have to share my personal opinion,
Yes.
then I would say that the very first checklist starts with yourself. Because
Okay.
that's actually the 100% way of knowing what to look out for. Because if you haven't self-actualized to a point, then you really don't know what you're looking for. That's when we say, if we are compatible, then it's fine. I mean, if I meet a guy and there's an attraction, I'm not even looking at physical. I mean, we've all said that before. But once you experience life, once you start seeing some other things that other married people are going through, then you have a whole
Different appreciation about it.
So,
okay.
for me, I say that it starts with you, as the woman, as the man. Once you know yourself and you know that, okay, I like kenke with fish. So, there are actually people that when you've had onions, they don't like the smell of it in your mouth. So then, if you meet someone the first time and
you have onion breath,
the efforts to, clear the onion breath, then,
is already a no.
Exactly.
Rules broken. That's it. We can't continue.
So once you know yourself, then it's easier, because to know your love language, it starts with yourself. And sometimes you don't even know that what you're doing for someone else is your love language. So let's say that you like it so much when your partner puts the t-shirts, because when you go to him, you wear his t-shirts, and he's noticed that when you get there, he's going to put the t-shirts on the bed for you. See,
Okay. Now that's kind of cute. That's kind of cute.
You understand? So then, for a person like that, you say, okay, I look out for service as a love language. So I'm eating, you see that, she would need water, or she's the type that eats with a drink and stuff like that. So let me add a drink to it. That's where it starts from. Then to go into the intotos.
Going into the
intotos. Now I have to go to my Bible, because I wanted to be very accurate with this. So I did put down it down properly, so that, because this is I think it's funny that this came to me at this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not the one going through it personally. But I've actually had encounters with a number of couples who are going through a lot of things that boils down to not really getting to know themselves and knowing what they should have expected. So even though they saw some of the signs, it just felt like one of those things that, maybe it will change. He can change. And now it's gotten to a point where, it's like a point of no return. So now, going to my list.
Please go ahead.
Once you have self-actualized, found out what you like and what not. For me, I say that you should look out for a man that you can talk to. Communication is key.
Very much so.
Because you can't live with someone in a house that you cannot talk to. Issues will come. So if you can't sit down and have a proper conversation with this person, trust me, you're going to go insane. Because, like I said, again, I've seen somebody going through this, and I mean, this whole fight started with, can't you sit down, let's have this conversation, things are not going well in the house, and I want us to talk about it, and you're always just upping and leaving.
And then leaving.
You understand? Because, according to the man, the woman doesn't understand him. So then I'm asking myself, you guys have been together for 6 years, and you did not or you haven't been able to find a way to communicate.
Properly.
And sometimes I feel these things, there are people you meet and, just like that, you can start having conversations with. It's so sometimes you meet a guy and like, oh my God, he's so easy to talk to, and all of these things. That is very important to look out for. And then I say that you need to find a partner who is spiritual.
Okay.
I'm not talking religious.
Spiritual.
Because if that person has got some sort of spirituality going on, there are certain things that he or she wouldn't do to you. So let's say I meditate a lot. So then before I pick, quote unquote, a fight with my partner,
You've thought through it.
you understand?
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to fight with you. I'm coming to have a conversation with you. Or I realize that I express myself better through text. So what I do is I type what you've done, how it made me feel. And if I think that, okay, because I did this, that's why you did it, and I'm saying to you that, okay, what I did, I didn't mean it that way, and blah, blah, blah. But when I see that a part of the text is becoming combative, I
Shut it down and then, okay.
so that it becomes like we are talking.
And not fighting.
Exactly. Because when you meditate, you really don't like chaos. Do you understand? So then when you see that this is going to go a certain way that will blow out of proportion, because look, I literally cannot breathe when we are having argument. So it's detrimental to my health. Because of that, I'm very particular about how I communicate. Now I say also that you need to find a man who loves you, sees you for you. And it's not, if I say a man, it seems like we're just talking about the woman finding or checking the list. So you need to look out for a man who is really looking at you. Like when you see that he's looking at you, you see adoration in his eyes. You see that this person sees me. Look, I remember way back I was seeing this guy, and every time I would go there, hi.
Welcome, Helen.
Listen, shout out to Anthony, the boat driver.
he did it in a neck of time.
Actually.
Listen, Anthony, Yemi Shrao, God bless you. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
I know I've interrupted in the juicy part, so
Yeah.
please, 4 more to do more. Let's hear you.
Oh my God. Some segments would not like that, but let's continue. Yes.
Where was I?
You're still on the list. I think we're going to a point. We had gone past.
Okay, yeah. So seeing this guy, and every time I go there, I would drink water and leave the bottle on the ground. For some weird reason. So one time he was, just passing through, and his feet hit the bottle and just
It spilled all over.
So he's like, you. And then he calmed down and said, why do you keep doing that? Because I could see that he wanted to fight me in the first place, but he's like, okay, this is who she is. I don't like it, but it's a way to talk to her because I love her and respect her. So, he said it in a different way.
Yeah.
And even though, I'm sorry, he's dead. Oh, weird that I'm talking about him now.
Well, sorry, this person is no longer with us.
Yeah.
Oh, may his soul rest in peace.
Soul rest in perfect
It's
peace.
weird, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on.
Moving on.
I also think that you should find someone who knows your love language, studies your love. Like I said earlier on, the person studies it. Because there are certain things about a person that only a person who loves them would see or notice. So it's only a person who loves you that would notice, okay, she likes her shito this way. She doesn't like a lot of salt in her food. Or she likes a lot of sugar, or she likes a lot of anti-Jemima sauce on her, what's it called, waffles. So you need to also look out for...
Wow, waffles answers. This might be international speckle. I thought you were going to say, oh, only they know you're watching order 1 willy, 2 eggs, 2 fish, 1 meat.
1 willy, 2 eggs, 2 fish, 1 meat. That's clearly your watch order.
No, it's just an example.
Oh wow, very specific example.
Yeah. My love language is 1 willy, two You know what? On a right day, that is my love language. One really 2 fish, 1 meat. You get me?
You have memorized this what you order.
It's an example.
Is it early in
Down to the
morning
T.
or you want it in the afternoon?
Wache? Do people eat wache after 11 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you not eaten an ajuwache?
Rockstars
You
are-
don't like an ajuwache?
I'm not sure what I've had it twice in my life. For some of us, we don't digest beans very well. So if I don't eat the wache early, that means I have no intention of sleeping. And I do wache dear. And maybe I from the club,
Yeah, literally.
Maybe that. But say,
No, but
Tuesday,
I
you may
like-
say, maybe many kinds of me could eat anaju wache.
An ajuwache is a bomb,
Oh, it's
man.
nice, though.
Yeah.
Especially when you go out late.
You don't like an ajuwache? Because depending on where you're buying it, the pepper is even hotter than during the day. It's
Charlie.
like fiery pepper.
You guys don't get heartburn.
You use liver sauce for that.
Find somebody who knows what time of day you like your
Watch it.
Get
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And for the women, I think that this is very crucial. Well, for me, you need to look out for a father in a man.
Explain.
Okay. So you see,
Helen disagrees, but
I don't mean a father for yourself. But look
Okay.
out for the traits of a father in a man. that you want.
Sometimes I look out for my father.
I thought like, okay, so somebody who you don't just call daddy, but somebody you can see being a daddy, a
You
dad,
understand? Yeah.
real father.
That-
Yeah.
And
I
they're
like
very.
zaddies. I'm sorry. I look up and I actually really do. I can't even help. Maybe daddy issues, but I don't.
You like a born one. That's your spec.
No, my spec.
No, but
I
that's
just,
actually not the only way to find out.
To find, okay. Let
You
us
see,
know.
I think that every person should eat with their partner.
Mm.
So for me, if a man is eating, you're eating together and he's all like this going really fast with the food, you finish the meat, the fish on top of the
And
food.
not considerate of you.
You understand. And how he takes care of your emotional needs and other needs as well, how he responds to your emotional needs. If you say that, babes, this thing you did really hurt me, how is he responding to, oh, I didn't mean to, and no, I'm sorry, but I didn't mean to. Do you understand? Because whether you meant it or not, what you did hurt the person. So are you going to explain yourself first before you say sorry, or you wouldn't even say sorry at all? Because to you, that's just, look, you're just being a big baby about this. This is nothing. And that, honestly, that is a no-no. So you need to, you see, that's why people get divorced, they have children, there is custody battle, and sometimes it's either the woman is feeling, I don't think my children are safe with this man. Not safe as in he's going to beat them, but she's now realized after having kids with them that
The
this
kind of man.
you understand, it's not the type that will pay attention to the children. But if you know that this man is fatherly, because I've seen some motherly fathers. They would bath their kids for school, they'll pick them up, they'll make sure the kids are well fed and, go to bed, read their bedtime stories and whatnot. And, it's nice. So that if you meet...
Listen to the mic. Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So if you have to, for me, that's like very, very important. If that person is a father and you're no longer together, and me, I will gladly leave the kids for the man, because if I know that they are going to be well taken care of, so that I can do something for my life. Because look, sometimes children can be very ungrateful.
Yeah.
It's true.
Oh wow.
It's true.
I was not expecting that. I thought kids can be a lot demanding, but damn.
That one too. It's true.
Well.
Look, I knew a certain woman who took care of the husband, took her abroad and everything. They had children here, but eventually the man got married abroad. And basically that was the end of the marriage. Some of them are able to hide their Ghana or African marriage, but he just
severed everything and then went to live outside.
And this woman would toil for the kids. But her son was bent on going to the father because the father was in America, regardless of everything that the woman was doing. So children can be very ungrateful. So if you find a man who has the father instincts, based on a few what's it called, hooks that you give to him, and you see that this person is a good father, then if there's a breakup, you can
yeah, well, that's an interesting point. I think we want to go on the phone lines and get Miss Judy. She wants to also share her thoughts about the checklist. Hello, Miss Judy.
Hi, AJ.
Hi, thank you for joining us on the line. We're sad we couldn't have you in the studio today. But do tell, what is your personal checklist that you go through or you went through before you decided to say I do?
I think most importantly, I wanted to understand what love is. So I have a Bible here, just a second. Okay, so I wanted to understand what love really is. And 1 Corinthians 13 actually says that love is patient, love is kind, love is not envious, it does not boast, and so forth and so on. So basically, you need to understand what love is, the sacrifices you're about to make, and you need to understand who you are. Because at the end of the day, if you don't understand you, your partner does not complete you. He comes to complement you. So whilst you may enjoy all the company and love and all that from the person, you need to be you. Like when the person is not around, you are not yourself. Like you want the person around all the time, and it doesn't work for most of us. If you feel you cannot be yourself and take care of yourself without the guy being around, or the woman being around, then you are not ready to be in the marriage, because you are supposed to be together to complement each other. And then again, I think before you get married to whoever, you should visit the parents first. Because one thing that you would know at the end of the day is his parents exhibit something that he or she might have picked up along the way. So if you are with them, try to study how the mother treats the father or how the father treats the mom. Because at the end of the day, you're going to experience certain things that you saw. And if these things do not work for you, you have to run. And then I would go for intimacy. If, hello?
Yes, Ms. Judy, we're listening. Please go ahead.
I'll go for intimacy. Like, our intimacy must match. Even though I might say sex is not the most important thing in any relationship, it plays a very vital role. And this is a man or woman that you wake up every morning without makeup. Do you appreciate the person? Is this a person that you want to really spend the rest of your life with? Waking up every day, seeing this man or woman that it doesn't work. And then I think lastly, what should I go for? Yes, friendship. I think if you are not friends, it doesn't work. I remember last week, who made a statement that, a wife would say, you have a small manhood and you get angry. I believe you should be so much deep into each other that certain jokes are taken as jokes and you don't fight over little things that do not make sense. I think these are the things I would really want to see in a partner before I would go for him or her.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for sharing your point. Now, I'm going to come to Helen and pick her views on this. Now, when it comes down to the checklist, what is on your checklist?
What is on my checklist? It's an interesting one because sometimes people show you things that you didn't even know you needed on the checklist, or show you things that actually you're happy and no longer exist on the checklist. But as an individual, for me, the baseline is that there is respect, and not just respect for me. Something that I pay attention to is how the person that I'm with also treats others around them.
Okay.
Because if somebody is treating the people around them not so nicely, but they're being nice to you, trust me, go reach your 10.
Yeah, that one,
You're
yeah.
just marking
It will
time,
just get you.
right? So this idea that you are so special and that, you know, you bring out the soft side in him and then just, masa, you go reach your 10. And also, why would you want to be with somebody who isn't nice to others? Like, you know, manners.
Yeah.
So somebody that's kind, not just to me, but
to everybody else
to others.
around them.
I know Sandra touched on the love language, and I think that's important, especially when you let the other person know that these are the things that I like. Some people will purposefully not adhere to any of the things that you want as a power play. Well, I know you like flowers, so I'll never buy you flowers. That's stupid.
I can agree.
I would avoid somebody like that. So somebody that pays attention to the things that I like, that's very important. Also the point about somebody that's quite fatherly, especially if you're going into a marriage or a long-term partnership and you're thinking about having children, not, you know, the times that you know, babies are crying on the plane, and yes, it's annoying, but you know, they get so mad and I think, well, what are you going to do when you have kids and they're crying? It's par for the course. Children cry. I think that's important as well. Somebody to have fun with, right? I'm highly extroverted. I love to enjoy myself. I remember when I was much younger, I was dating an individual that never wanted to go out.
Oh wow.
Actually, I won't share too many details. You know, he's happily married now. We're good friends. But at the time, I remember going to visit him. I lived overseas, as did he. We lived in different continents. I'd gone to said continent for the first time, and I wanted to go and see everything.
Yes.
You know, we'd go to dinner. I'm like, can we go to that pub? But like, was like, yeah. Okay, would you need to do morning numbers, and I remember that used to like really hurt my feelings. So, but then I you know, I'd complain once or twice, but I just swallow it. And then the older I got, I thought, listen, there's how many billion people on the planet? Like 7,
why am I stressing myself?
And I was like, Helen, surely there's somebody who after eating a morning stew, they want to party, they want to go to the club. I mean, these days that's not really my you know, my main focus, but at least if I want to have a good time, somebody that you can count on, on to have a good time as well. I think it's important that, you know, your hobbies somehow align. Some people are all right with doing very separate things from their partner. I'm not that way inclined, so that's also important for me. So kindness, somebody that has the traits of being a potential father, not just a daddy. You know, somebody that's adventurous, likes to try new things, wants to go out. Also family. Sandra, I think you also mentioned, or was it Miss Judy that mentioned family?
Perhaps.
That's also very important. How they treat their family members is a major flag, because you're then hoping to become a family with this person. So that's important to also look out for the type of relationship that they have with their friends as well. It's important, just generally a whole myriad of things. I'm sure more will come as we go along. And I think it's also important to note that no one person will be able to fulfill all of your needs, right? And it's also very unfair to designate every role in your life to your partner. You want them to be your BFF, your counselor, your pastor, your ZD, your ding. But there are other people in your life, your bank account, you get me?
That is important.
Anyway, AJ, let me not agree too hard, because you can be my bank account daddy, I don't mind. But it's important to also note that one person can't fulfill all of these roles. But for me, if the bulk of my needs are being met, I'm also not perfect, as hard as it is to believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know. Shocking, right?
Okay.
Sandra, I know it's a shock, right?
It's so much.
You feel me? In the same way you have your shortcomings, you're not going to fulfill all of your partner's checklist needs.
No.
AJ, not even you, as perfect as you are. Sandra, not even you, as perfect as you are.
I cannot believe it.
So you just weigh up the pros and cons. If they're fulfilling a bulk of your needs, you're happy. You know that if there are issues, you're not afraid to bring that to them, because that's also another thing. Communication. The way that people communicate is super different, right? So for me, one thing that is a pet peeve that I, you know, no longer accept is bad communicators. Men do this a lot, and if I'm like, where there's something wrong, right? You know, men have this mentality of being fixers. Like women, if we have a problem, you cry small before you get into action. Men don't even allow room for emotional processing. There's a problem, straight into action. For me, I have to cry for a good 30 seconds before I restabilize and then figure out a plan. I used to date somebody who every time I would panic, oh come on, are you a baby? Come on.
Oh wow.
Come on, that's a father.
That's not a father. And it's like, can you give me room to be a bit upset? The thing that's happened, it's not,
and then it's out of my control, and I want to grieve about it.
Because the thing that I'm going through, it's not only that it feels upsetting, it is upsetting. So give me room to process. So I never want to be with somebody where I feel scared or ashamed to show my emotions because I'm a man up, are you a small girl? I used to date somebody like that, and boy,
this
that checklist, they were not. Oh no, this is the second one, right? And
some of them, they're all in one.
And then I juxtapose that, shortly after I'd been with this person who, the checklist, they just weren't meeting my needs. I'm guessing at some point I wasn't meeting their needs because they were looking for a soldier going to war as opposed to a real human being that had emotions. And then shortly after I met somebody who, I was always shocked when there was an issue and they wanted to discuss it. I'm like, are you sure you don't want to fight and be closed off? Because that's what I was used to. So also then meeting somebody, regardless of how things ended, knowing that it's possible that you can be with somebody who fulfills a bulk of your needs on that checklist gives me more confidence, and I'm sure others more confidence when they experience it, to go out there and listen, they're harming 7 billion. Trust me, Konimo, who's stressing your life, who's not meeting your needs, you are forcing them into a mold that they just cannot fit. Just pack that BS somewhere and move on. Get me? Move on.
Preach it, baby. Preach it. Alrighty. But we're still talking about checklists. If you have yours to join, please give us a call. 0592928795. The gentlemen or the ladies, let us know what your checklist is. I mean, the ladies or the gentlemen. So 0592928795. That's 0592928795. You're tuned in to Keeping It Real right here on 3FM 92.7. What is your checklist before you get married? Now let's talk about questions that we are supposed to ask our other half. So beyond us going through our own personal checklist, am I really ready? Am I sure I want to do this? Am I physically, psychologically, spiritually ready to allow someone be in my space for the next give or take 50 years? But beyond that as well, what are the criteria that we hold up against them, and sort of the questions we're supposed to ask them? Because sometimes you need to be on the same wavelength with the person. You might want 3 kids, they might want 5. You might want to live only in Ghana, they might want to relocate at some point in their life, so they're open to that. There was someone I was having a conversation, like I was in the talking stages with, and he was insisting that at some point in time he wants to relocate his entire family, and I knew that was not something I ever wanted to do.
Where did he want to go?
To the UK, back to the UK. So he was determined that, like, the Ghanaian system is in such a way that he wants to ensure that his family grows up there, and then like whoever you are that one he wants to settle down with should be open to moving. I don't want to move to the UK. I don't want to move to the UK and become a housewife. Did you get that? That's not something I ever want to do.
You want to stay and be a bonana?
I like it. I like controlling my own space and my own destiny, and to be and it was a very hard deciding factor for him. And eventually he found someone who was willing to do that. In fact, she lived there, so it was not a thing of her moving there. We're like, oh, I'm there, we met each other, we got married, and then she's there with the kids, and he's very happy because he now gets to move in between the two countries, and he's happy. But that was his criteria. Now for a lot of women, we sort of acquiescence to what the man wants without really asking them the questions, because we need to be on the same wavelength. You might be very ambitious and hoping that you will take over the world one day, like I hope I would, but he might probably be more willing to be with a woman that at some point would take the back seat to his ambitions. And if you don't have those kind of questions, you'll be frustrated in the middle thinking, how did my husband change? But he didn't change. He always told you what he wanted from the beginning. So what are some of those questions I'll start with you, Sandiva, that you must ask or you must know that your other half is aligned with?
Again, it comes back to self-actualization. Once, because you see, you said you knew for a fact that you didn't want to go back to the UK, stay there, raise your kids over there, because see, you've actualized, I don't know if fully, but I mean maybe to a point, that you know what you're about, you know your worth, you know what you're up to, you know where you're going and where you want to be. Probably even tomorrow, you know what you're eating, whether it's wache, wole, egg, you know.
One willy,
two eggs, two fish,
one meat.
Plenty
right.
more stew.
Oh no, plenty stew and plenty stew.
Oh, okay.
I'm team drown it in shito stew.
Yeah, so I mean, it gets down to that point. Once you know that and you know where you want to be in life, or you know where you're going in life, the questions come easily. Because if you're a career woman who is thinking that, look, I want to be independent regardless of whether I'm in a relationship, I'm married, I want to always be able to take care of myself, because you never know, marriage for some reason it has an expiry date. You could be in it, but you know that this thing has ended, but we're just, you know, cohabitating or whatever it is. So you ask the questions that are relevant to you. I cannot tell you what to ask. You know where you're going. So then you have to know the questions to ask in order to get to where you're going without feeling like you've been shortchanged in the future when, you know, you'd be like, oh yeah, and I stayed home and I had a kids for you, and, you know, because you didn't know what you really wanted. The man, you were all, you know, in love and you were excited about the prospect of getting married, probably because of the society that you grew up in. But you still have to, you know, actualize to a point. So say for me, right now, I know that I don't have any more kids. So that is a question. I mean, I remember having this conversation and I was crying and I broke up with a guy because he said he wants to have kids by all means, like he wants to have more kids, and I'm just like, but I don't. So we broke up that night, and then as I was going home, I kept crying and crying, and I came back. I said, look, I don't know whether we'll even still be together in the next 1 year. So let's just but I still knew that I didn't want to have.
You weren't going to compromise on that, yeah.
But I also wanted to enjoy the moment. So when he comes tomorrow and says that, look, I found someone who wants to have the kids that you don't want to have, it's only fair that I walk away. I mean, it may be that I have postponed my heartbrokenness. If I had taken it now,
it would have been easier, then you'd have moved on. But you rather postpone it for a longer period.
You understand? So it all comes down to knowing what you want to do, and then, you know, where you want to be. Because trust me, I'm this friend who, you know, was a model. She was doing Vlisco Glitz, and oh my God, please don't kill me when I get home. You know, and now she's married, she's got kids, and she can't do that anymore. And already that is a mental, you know, psychological thing that she has to battle with. You know, not forgetting the, you know, culminating that comes with marriage and the stress and whatever. So to an extent, she's depressed. Again, I will ask, do you want to have more kids? If you say yes, then obviously that's a deal breaker.
That's
one thing that you cannot compromise on. There are men who don't want house helps in their homes. So you have to ask, are you open to that? Because maybe I work this, that, and I want to go to school in the next 2 years. So even if we have kids, I will not be home enough. So are you open to having a nanny? Those are questions that you have to ask as well if you are an independent woman, a working woman who is thinking of having children. And if he's a man who, I'm sorry, some may not be able to afford, but some just don't want it. Is you're my wife, you have to make sure that you cook my food,
the clean, my food is done, all of that.
You understand? And then also you need to ask him, will you be willing to, you know, I mean, I know that we live in a society where the woman is put in the kitchen regardless of what you're doing, but you still need to ask if he's open to whoever gets home first. That's something for the other. So it's not he got home at 5 p.m. and he's waiting for you who will probably get home like 8:30 to come cook. a meal for him when you're already tired and you have to act like a superwoman. That's really difficult to handle. So these are questions that you need to ask that I can think on top of my head right now. Yeah.
Let me come to you, Helen. What kind of questions must you ask in a relationship before you decide, I'm ready to walk down the aisle, or I'm ready to commit properly to this person?
I think along the same tangent, lifestyle questions, especially, about food. Some people don't want to eat leftovers, right?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Some people don't
I
like
had an uncle
left.
that does that. Like, my aunt had to cook fresh meals every day. I was like,
And in terms
Wow.
of even the cooking, one thing, I mean, I enjoy cooking, but I sometimes will ask questions as if I don't enjoy cooking to gauge what would happen if I woke up on a Tuesday and stopped enjoying the cooking, for example. Because something could happen and you just think, I used to cook all the time and now I don't really enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
Would the way that you treat me change? Are you looking for a cook specifically?
You understand.
So that's important as well. Off the top of my head, I think it would be mainly lifestyle questions. Where do you want to live? Do you see yourself ever relocating? That sort of thing that maybe we overlook. But for long-term partnership, you have to ask number of kids. Do you even want kids? If there's somebody who initially says maybe no, do you think you're likely to change your mind? I mean, you can determine that, but as much as possible, those sorts of things.
None of you have mentioned financial, though.
Yes, how much money? How much
I
money?
feel it's one of the conversations that people don't have. Like, I assume you seem like you have money. You buy me nice things.
Yeah.
We go on nice dates. You pay for my travel. Like, you pay for everything. So I'm assuming you always have money. We never ask about
daunting question, and it seems like a very personal and private question.
But when you are lying by him, is that not personal and private?
It is, and I've never, beg your pardon, really asked. I've never asked, but for some reason, you think you have an idea just based on how they live, but you could be surprised. Somebody let me move on.
Don't say it.
I mean, I've been in positions where I've only found out later that the money
was a ruse.
The money that was used to woo me was all, like, for example, borrowed funds, right? So a lot of the very elaborate, extravagant dates, I've been love bombed before, like hard, extravagant, lavish dates. Weekend after weekend. Where do you want to go? What do you fancy? What do you want to eat? And then once it was time for said person to pay back the monies that they owed, I think they definitely changed towards me. They had their own issues, paying back, so they were projecting that onto me very heavily. So actually, AJ, you're very right. It's the kind of question we fear asking, but if you don't ask, you could find yourself in a very compromising situation, because people will keep up appearances and people are borrowing, stealing and conniving just to come by those monies. So it's a hard question, but if you want to start life with somebody, you need to know, Masa, like, what's your take home? Or if you can't really disclose that, if we have a joint account or we split bills, you just tell me how much can you bring to the table. I don't know about disclosing my full credentials, but
you disclose your full.
Me personally,
we have a long conversation about it.
Charlie, me personally, it go hard, because I'll be feeling a kind of way, especially if they make more. I'll be like, Charlie, can I pull my weight? It's pressure. Like somebody knowing how much I earn. But if we agree that, Charlie, okay, so we want to split our outgoings this way. So you bring this. Can you bring it? I check my pace. I can bring it. You too, can you bring this? Then we do that. But for you to really know how much
I'm very honest with how much I earn.
That's because you're a baller.
No.
When you're a baller, you can say how much you earn. AJ, come on, get out of my size. When you're balling, of course, you can say.
Oh my God.
If I was balling,
but when he told me how much he made, I felt very poor. Ooh. I felt very, very, very. I started second guessing.
See, and wow. that would trigger me. That would trigger me.
I was like, people get paid that much in Ghana?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, okay. I need to do better in life.
See, something like that.
Perhaps
If you
I'll
bring
take
if you tell me what you're earning first, I'll not follow up.
Yeah.
Because I just think, Charlie, if I'm not even bringing a quarter of what you are saying, then Charlie, these days the men also are thinking about the finances.
It's
So
true.
Yeah.
in this
It's true.
Ecuador economy,
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
all hands on deck. So the households are being supported left, right, and center. Mom and dad, husband and wife have to come together. So it's hard, especially when you are struggling and your other half is. Even in modern times, even as a woman, I feel
But
like
doesn't that it sort of puts you in a point that, well, then you should take care of me, daddy.
No,
I don't know.
he's going to stress out. Because see, if you're dating a man, let's say you are earning 5,000 and you're dating a man who is earning say 20k, 30k, it means that his standard of living is actually higher than yours. I mean, it could be that for now your standard of living seems to be around his because maybe there is, daddy A, daddy B, or your father will give you some, your mom, whoever, or you're getting small. But once you actually establish a relationship and everybody around you knows that you're in a relationship, those small financial helps that don't come anymore.
Yes, that's
so
true.
that's a tip.
Yeah.
You have
You
to keep it
understand.
private.
Keep it private.
Like you get your small local fuel.
Yeah, because other than that, people might not be so generous.
I've written
You
that down.
understand?
They're like,
Because if
you have a
you're
boy,
not exactly.
go to your boyfriend,
Because
and
Nami
collect
bleep
money.
war.
Go to where your is.
Yeah.
So it actually, whether you like it or not, it will get to a point where it will put some financial burden. There is a certain stress that come with that. When he's going through something, you are not the person he's looking financial something. You're not the person he's looking to because in his mind you really cannot afford his lifestyle. And maybe he may come to you and truly you can afford it because let's say he's driving a Range Rover, you're driving Picanto Corolla. The fuel consumption is not the same.
That's
so
right.
Even though you're moving to and fro, both of you, when he comes to you and says, babe, can you give me some money for fuel? His fuel money is probably let's say a day fuel money is probably your monthly fuel consumption. So that's also going to put you in a certain bind. And if he's not in the space where he's going to be able to start making that 20k quickly, then you see where this is going. So it's even in as much as we're looking to date a well-established person, sometimes the woman earns more than the man. So let me just use the person. Once you find that, it means that you need to start working on yourself to a point where you start earning at least half of what that person is earning for your own sake, for your sanity's sake. Yeah, for your sanity's sake, to be honest.
It's
Because
getting worse.
if not, at a point, this same man can tell you that you're useless to me, and he's right.
Hey, Sandra.
Because he can't come.
Yeah.
He can't come to you. I mean, useless in inverted commas because he cannot come to you for help. Do you understand? So
But that's why we bring
the
the ideas and we bring the
So work on some of the ideas
book,
by
yeah.
yourself. Work on some of the ideas yourself. You can go to him and say, "Please, can you give me this amount of money to start this? I know that by the end of the year I'll be earning this, that." So it's not, and I brought ideas to you and you couldn't help me and blah blah because he didn't see how you were going to make that money back. It's just like presenting your it's presenting a business proposal. You know that this man can help you elevate yourself, and sometimes I hear women say, "Oh, I've asked him for help, son. He's not." It's because you're always going with your mouth
and never with like an actual.
The mouth is powerful.
You
go with your mouth, you can get whatever you want, baby.
Skills.
Better lead with your mouth. You want the money or not?
Oh, the mouth has gotten many men
Better lead
to
with your
agree to
Better open your mouth.
speak well and take it all in.
Wow, AJ.
I mean, in terms of explanation, you need to explain properly. So when you get to open your mouth and then speak well, and you just might get what you need. Yeah.
Okay.
That was a small digression, Sandra. derailed you. Please carry on.
The power of the mouth.
You feel me, AJ?
Can I have this spiritual conversation?
Yes.
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 The mouth and the tongue is very.
Oh, Jesus, Lord.
It was sad and precious. It was sad and precious.
Anywho, speaking well
Okay.
to someone to get that proposal approved
With your mouth?
with your mouth.
I mean, whether you have that.
Yes, back to it. Sorry. Commercial break over. We're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, you still have to, explain the proposal or whatnot with your mouth. So yes, we get it that the mouth can take you far, but
It can.
numbers will take you further. You understand? So, point in case is that as you are aiming to maybe date the minister, you need to also aim to either become a minister or at least something around that, so that, because see, marriage, whether we like it or not, is a partnership.
Correct.
And when it comes to partnership, both parties are supposed to bring something to the table. It may not be the same, which is why there are percentages in what you're getting when it comes to partnership. It may not be the same, but it has to be at least close enough. If not, one is always going to feel shortchanged. It's as simple as that.
But even in the situation where the roles are designated, because I'm sure, let's say for the very super wealthy, either man or woman, maybe some of these conversations also don't play a role. Maybe for them, they want somebody who will be at home, again, either man or woman, to take care of their affairs. It might even be their preference that you don't work because they want maybe a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad. Yours is to just make sure the home is running, the kids are doing well as well. So does it cut across, or do you just have to, is that for the majority of the people, or is it a tailored approach? Because not everybody wants, some men don't even want ambitious women. Or they see that your ambitions, are starting to take off, they'll impregnate you. And then you have to stay at home.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no right or wrong way, but I'm saying that for your sanity, because how many happy housewives have you met?
Those whose husbands are rolling in the dough, even for them, I'm sure there's some lack somewhere.
You understand? I mean, in every situation there is lack, but you have to weigh your options. If you're the type of woman who don't want the man to, be telling, sit down, and you sit, there is a conversation, you have no say, you are still living in the era where a woman is supposed to be seen and not heard because you're not contributing anything, you're not bringing anything to the table, then okay, I know some women who just want to be housewives and sadly there are women who see marriage as an escape. They feel like once I get married, my financial needs will be met, because the man will take care of my needs. And sadly, a lot of them get very disappointed. So
they'll do you like action film.
You understand? They say if you want to date a certain caliber of person, you have to put yourself in a position where you meet that person, isn't it? So why is it that you're going to put yourself in that position and then afterwards you can't meet the expectations? Because if you're saying you want to date a footballer, right, and then you're going to places where footballers go, you're always dressing up, showing up and whatnot because you know that this is what they like. Look, they're in their mind, okay, if I'm seeing this lady a certain way, she comes to this restaurant, she pays for her own food, she comes, she does this, she's always wearing Gucci's and Prada. Then if I'm going with this person is also going to be able to help me, or even days when I don't have, she can take care of the home or she can take care of the family, because he's also, do you think it's only women who calculate men from head to toe? Men also calculate women. So then if you present all of that and then they actually put you in the house and you're not able to give them what they thought that they were going to get, wahala don't gas.
It's true.
So you have to see, you have to constantly keep working on yourself in every area because society is growing, everything is growing, everything is changing. You can't just be, you say that, oh, this is who I've always been, so you're gonna be that all the time. That just doesn't work. It doesn't.
Charlie. Oh, we'll soon be wrapping up the conversation. But you can call us 0592928795, 0592928795. But now coming quickly into this, now we figured out what we would ask the people that we're hoping to settle down with. We figured out sort of our own list. But is there any sort of mental preparedness that you have to undergo before you decide to go into a long-time commitment with someone? Mentally, do you have to reorient yourself that I shouldn't look at anybody else, just this one person for the rest of my life or for the next foreseeable few years, or there's nothing really in that sense?
I think you should definitely mentally prepare, and it's for things such as what I touched on in the beginning, that this person cannot be my everything. I think that's super important. I know a lot of people that enter relationships and this idea that this one person is going to fulfill every need, it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
You put so much pressure on your partner, so much pressure on the relationship. I think mentally preparing yourself to, for the fact that people also change. Their interests will change. The person you knew before, maybe kids will be different after kids. I think it's just also relinquishing this idea of possession, that, this person is not your property. They're a separate entity completely. I know, when you get married, you go to church, your pastor will say the two become one, and that's symbolic. But really, the same way you came onto this planet by yourself, you leave alone. That's what your partner is also doing. They came by themselves and they leave by themselves. And I think as adults, the older you get, you realize how very individualistic this life experience is. Sometimes you're going through something tough, and even your loved ones can bring you out of that funk, because only you know what you are really going through. Only you know your deepest and darkest problems and woes. So I think mentally also psyching yourself to remember that you are your own person, have that tenacity when things start to get shaky, and also prepare yourself not for the worst, but this city will show you shaky, and human beings will also show you shaky leggy. Preparing yourself, hope for the best. Exactly. And that if things go awry, I'm sure for most people, if a long-term partnership comes to an end, they'll be devastated. But also just accepting that it's part of life. There are many more unsuccessful, I say this all the time, relationships than there are successful ones. In 2021 alone, another stat that I always talk about, some over 900,000 Ghanaians opted to file for divorce or official or separation. That's almost 1 million Ghanaian adults. Clearly, this institution is not foolproof, and that there are issues. And I feel like if you ever find yourself in a position where it's no longer tenable, you have the temerity and the tenacity to walk away. I think it's just preparing yourself for those things. Nobody likes to think about it when times are good and things are happy, but when you're just by yourself, you think to yourself, hey Charlie, if tomorrow Konimo wasn't there, would I be able to still stand on my own 2 feet? How would that feel like if they disappoint me? Everybody's going to disappoint you. You disappoint others. Why wouldn't somebody disappoint you? Also preparing yourself, you disappoint yourself sometimes. So these expectations, the high expectations that we set for our partners, also you have to reorient your mind and also be prepared to have to give grace, because you also at times will need grace, and also forgiveness. Forgiveness is going to be very very key. So I think those are the kind of things that you psych your mind towards, before, during, and after the set or so-called partnership. If you don't, I think people enter these sorts of relationships with unrealistic ideals and expectations. So I think that's what you should be doing, upstairs.
Yeah,
I like that.
I was listening to Sadhguru one time, and he said that the way that we see love these days is very transactional. So when you were sick, I took care of you. Why is that when I was sick, you're not taking care of me? And love in its actual sense is more of giving than taking. I mean, think about it, because the institution of marriage is a symbol of the relationship that we have with God. So it's the relationship that God has with the church. So
if you're a Christian, that is.
Yeah, true. But I mean,
I'm just saying, no, not everybody follows the Christian religion.
That's true. That's true. But if we are using just that scenario, think about the number of times we go to God with our needs, and Father, I want this, and I need a guy with 6 packs, or all of the unrealistic things that we go to Him with, and the only mandate is to worship Him. He says that give me praise, give me thanks at every given point in your life, regardless of what it is. So I think that if we can actually get to that point where we give in love much more than we are expecting to take. I see that you're quiet.
Yeah.
it will be easier.
Okay.
No, because see, when you have kids, right? And I know that type of love is a little different, and I say a little different because of the emotional, the romantic aspect of the love with a husband or a wife or whatever.
Correct.
That's the only difference there, actually.
Yeah.
But when you dish out love to your children, what do you expect from them? Are you saying that I love you, so you have to love me back?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's in our African setting that they say, parents until they lose their teeth.
That's right.
You understand? But that's a lot of burden on it to put on a child. I mean, they didn't ask for it. You brought them here, you love them, you say that I love you. So then why are you expecting that they dish out the same thing? You should be able to let them do what they want to do if they don't feel like doing it for you. So love for me is loving someone, letting them do what they want to do, and still loving them for them. I mean, to an extent. But it makes it a bit easier, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've covered all the basics on what you should be adding to your checklist when it comes down to making that big decision for long-term partnership. The final words from you ladies on your tip to anyone who might be considering that that one, or that making that decision, and how they should navigate it should they come to it, or that junction. I'll start with you, Helen.
Oh wait, say that again.
The tip to someone who might be yeah, that's so excited. That tip that you would give to someone who might be considering that big jump from casual relationship to now fully committed, or maybe even leading towards marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything that we've said today, think about. If you haven't thought about some of those themes, do explore them in your mind. This is coming from your big sisters. I've been through it, so that you don't have to. But also, experience is the best teacher. My older sister, what didn't she tell me? But I wanted to see it, feely, canny for myself.
And there's this tiny voice that says, as the person is telling you, oh, this path you're taking is going to lead this way, in your mind you're just like, mine will be different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mine will be different.
So also learn from the people around you, the situations around you, the scenarios around you, because trust me, you're not that special. If somebody has done it to Sandra, has done it to AJ, or they are Mensma, or they are Sally, or they are Cindy, or they are Yaya, or they are Mansa, or they are Odebeyo, or they are Roberta, Benedicta, Odebeyo.
Gotta love it. And the final words from you, lovely Sandiva.
I think that I'll just reiterate what my dear darling sister. Sorry, please tell me your name. I'm so ashamed.
Helen, as you should be. To be fair, I waltzed in here like a tornado. So you are absolutely forgiven. Yes.
So, like she said, everything that we have just said. But one thing that is much important to me in all of this is that you get to know who you are. at every given point in time, because that is what is going to serve you and that's what's going to keep you throughout the marriage.
I like that a lot. And on that note, ending just a little early, my guests have been the lovely Sandra Osei-Nti, aka Sandiva. She's an actress, a content acquisition manager, and an all-round cool girl. And Helen Ampofu Apia.
Apia Ampofu. Get it right, AJ.
I don't know what's
But anyways, tomorrow we're back bright and early, 5:55 a.m. Myself and the Sunrise crew. In fact, tomorrow we're out of the studio, but just watch out for the socials. We'll tell you exactly what's happening. We'll kick things off in studio, and then you can find us
in different parts of
37 tomorrow morning. We're going to be in your community, doing things a little bit differently.
We love that.
But yes, see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Yes. And on that note, join us for more content on 3FM 92.7 every hour of every day. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday, 7 to 8. 15, 8:30.
See how we feel.
See how we feel about that. But definitely ensure that you keep up with us on social media. Use the hashtag keeping it real. And we'll be back with more next week. Keep listening to more great music and tunes and conversations and excitement on 3FM. Coming up shortly will be Akofa with Wind Down to get you home right. My name is AJ Akwakosapon. Been a pleasure. Back your way tomorrow with Giovanni from 2 to 7. Until then, take care of yourselves, Accra.
As long as you got me out, you don't go need nanny out. Because I go take care of you, my sweetie baby. So if you ask me if I want to,